Hey, what's up guys? Today we're going to be working on the S10. Today's job is going to be pulling the cylinder heads off and changing the lifters, because ever since I put it together, basically it's had a lifter tick. We're going to dive into the engine a little bit as we pull it apart. We noticed on the shit horse engine that some of the rockers, the cup where the push rod goes, were really worn out. So we're going to inspect all those too, just in case maybe it's that. But to me it sounds like it's a lifter not pumping up properly. So what I got here is new lifters. These are from Summit, but they're basically an LS7 lifter, just sold by Summit, so I don't know who makes them or whatever. New lifter trays, all came in a package deal. And then I got new head gaskets, which are GM, and this is the part number. From Summit, they're cheap. They're like 45 bucks for the pair, and it's a multi-layer gasket. I don't know if it has as many layers as the LS9. Looks like it has 3, but it's the 5.3 HO gasket, which is what this engine is. So let's get to work. I went ahead and I pulled this valve cover off, and the coils, of course. And I'm taking a look at all the lifters. I mean, of course, some of them could be up on the cam lobes, but a lot of them are loose, which means to me that they're not on the cam lobe. And this one here, it definitely has a lot of movement. I'll take you in closer. I mean, you can hear it, and look at how much it's moving. And then compare it to this one, you know, it moves not quite as much. That one's got some movement, and that one has like a little bit, but this one seems to have a lot. If I put a feeler gauge in there, and this is a 22 thou feeler gauge, it goes in pretty easy, and then when I push down on it, it opens up more. Next I'll pull the rockers off and we'll inspect those. I think this was the one that I said was, and if you can see, it does go up and down quite a bit. I did have the truck running yesterday. I brought it into the garage, so you would think that it wouldn't lose all its oil sitting since yesterday. I could get it that they're maybe not totally pumped up, but just sitting one day, they shouldn't have that much play, I wouldn't think. Took a look at the rocker arms, the wear inside the inside here. Looks okay to me, and the tips of the push rods and that look okay also. So we're gonna continue and pull the heads, and we're gonna change these lifters. But what I'm also gonna do too is I'm gonna take, I got this container, so I should do this first. I'm gonna take the lifters out of the boxes, put them in here, and soak them with oil so that they get some oil in them so that they're not going in dry. Before I put them in the oil, I took one of them, and basically I'm gonna put like a push rod in there. And as you can see, I can't budge it at all. So even without oil in them, the spring should be tight enough that they don't move under the pressure of me pushing down on with some sort of push rod. So that tells me those lifters are pretty worn, and we're gonna change them. Alright guys, so we got the intake off. We got to do a little bit of squirrel house cleanup, because as you can see, there's still lots of leaves and things from the squirrel trying to move into the S10. Well, that's better. So you can see the intake's off. Everything looks pretty good here. Everything looks all right. Next, I guess I'll pull these rockers, like these ones, and I guess the exhaust has to come off, and then the heads. For you new people that maybe haven't watched all the videos, which you should go watch, this is the driver's side manifold. So it's a stock manifold that's been cut, and then a V-band welded on, and you can see it's been like 2 years already, and still in really good condition. And then also I clearanced it here for the steering clearance, but as you can see, it's still rubbing a little bit, so While it's off, I think I'll take a die grinder and I'll kind of clean that up. Probably take the steering shaft and like take a little bit off of it so that maybe it doesn't rub anymore. But the manifold looks like it stood up good over the time. We're just getting the other manifold off, and then we'll be ready to do the head bolts. One other thing I'm going to do to the manifold before I put it on is this rear bolt, and on the other manifold, same thing. It's like really, really tight. I don't know if I can get down in there, but it's really tight in here back by the firewall. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the cutoff wheel and I'm going to cut this straight down so that this is like an oval, open, and then the bolt can be halfway in and it'll just slip on, kind of like some headers are. So I'm going to do that too before they go back on, which will just make it easier to take apart if we ever have to take the engine apart again, which hopefully we won't. Everything's off, manifolds, just cylinder heads now. So little ones, big ones, we'll get these heads off. Nice of GM to make this little bolt tray here. I think we'll take the exhaust off. No, I don't really want to. I took the exhaust off just here at the turbo, and I think I should be okay now. That bolt did not feel good about coming out. I was scared it was going to break. Alright guys, so I got all the bolts out. Everything's undone. And now we should be able to just pull the head off. A bunch of antifreeze pouring out of everywhere. I have a bucket down there, luckily. Alright, so that's one head. Got both heads off. Got them all cleaned up. Everything looks really good inside. Obviously, because it's not like it's been together for a long time. But yeah, all the pistons look good. I cleaned them a little bit. That one I actually didn't because it's way down in there, but that's all good. So now I'll take these bolts out and pull these lifter trays and lifters out. Oh, no, and I got the wrong size bolt. All right, now I got the right size. 10 millimeters. Oh. One came with the tray. It's supposed to. But that's probably because they're worn out. See, this one feels worse pushed down than this one does. Of course, we haven't got to the side where I think is the one that was really loose. And that one moves a lot. But the rollers look good. So you see the tray has this little notch, which goes there. I think these notches are because some LS3s or something have extra notches or something. I don't know, bolts or I don't know. You tell me in the comments if you know, because I don't know. As if this even solves the issue. Maybe I'll put it together and it'll still tick. I don't know. And then just put the two bolts in and tighten them up. Like 22 foot-pounds or something. I got that head on, not torqued, and I got the gasket on, front to the front. Mother effers, they say. And we're ready to put that head on. And there we go, it's on. Just put the bolts in, and we'll be ready to torque it down. With these head bolts, I usually just go 65. So we'll start at 40 first. Do kind of 2 rounds. I wrote the pattern down. I mean, you just have to go in kind of a circular pattern, working your way out. I always like to have the exact pattern. Okay. And back to 1. And do this again. Top one's last. Because they only go like 22 foot-pounds, these little ones. Alright. That's torqued on. All right, now we're going to stick in the push rods, and these are 7.4, and they are from BTR. They're 80 thou chromoly. I actually had these ones in my Nova before, and then I put some slightly longer ones in the Nova, and so then I had these ones kicking around. So when I built this truck, I figured, oh, I'll put them in here. The whole rocker assembly. Oh, this is dying. But so I'm gonna check over these and make sure they're torqued. I mean, they say that a lot of people say, oh, you have to adjust them on the base circle and turn the thing. I don't know. I don't know what it makes a difference, because pretty much they just get tightened down. There's no adjustment on them. So I always just tighten them like that, and then I'll go back over them with the torque wrench, just make sure they're like the same thing. They're supposed to be like 22 foot-pounds. All right, so this is the driver's side manifold, which you can see how it was modified. And then the same thing, V-band clamped and all that stuff. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to notch this so that it's open, so that I can just slip this over the bolt. I think that'll make it a lot easier to take off and on. And I'm going to do the same on the other one. Okay. So now, bolt just slips. So this can go into the head, and then this will just slip over top. It's really tight down in that corner. So this way, if I don't have to turn the bolt out all the way to get the manifold off, it'll make it a lot easier. You know, don't you hate when that happens, when you're just having crap time lining up one bolt hole? Oh, I got it. Got all the bolts in, started. Now I just got to tighten them all up. Of course, also have to hook that V-band up. Now the worst thing about this is the all this wrap right here. Putting your arms on it makes them very itchy, which really sucks. So I'll tighten up these bolts, and then we'll have to put the other side on. Alright, so I got coils back on, manifolds of course back on. So pretty much everything's back on minus the intake manifold. So before I put the intake back on, I am gonna do a upgrade. And so I got the steam port tube here and these ends, you see them, but I actually went to the junkyard like last year, I think, and I got one of these 4-port dealies. So we're just gonna stick that on. Figure it can't hurt, right, to put that on. So I gave her a quick paint, and we're gonna bolt that on now. All right, so hopefully this should be pretty straightforward here. Hopefully it won't interfere with my maybe I have to go under. I have the braided line for the turbo feed here. So maybe this needs to go under it, would be better. I figured they sell these, you know, Motion Raceworks or whatever sells these fancy braided ones. So they must do something, you would guess, right? All right, so we got that on, and then just this hose connects back up. Tighten the hose clamp, and that little upgrade is done. All right, coming in with this bad boy. Oh, ow! All right, oh yeah, no problem with the braided line and all that. So that's it, she's on. Just now to just bolt it all together, and it'll be done. All in all, pretty good, pretty good. I mean, it took me, I don't know, I've been working on it all day, but off and on, not rushing. It's funny how there's so much going on that side with the fuel lines and everything. This side's actually not so bad. Alright, so now we just have to hook up all the wiring. So we'll start. We got the injectors. And I really like these injector plugs. We got our intake air temp sensor right here, sensing the air. Alright, I think that's good. So that's that side. This side's a little bit trickier because there's way more wires. And I hope that I didn't put this one somewhere where it's going to not reach now. Hey, you want fuel injection? That's what you get. Why do all the other wires reach and just not this one? But I guess this should have been further forward. It doesn't reach. Ugh. Okay, I gotta get a light and get in there. I'll be right back. All right, guys. So everything's back together, as you can see. Ended up figuring that wire out. It was just catching a little bit over there. This could kind of get tucked down a little bit too. The only thing I haven't done is put the steering shaft back on. That's because it rubs a little bit on the exhaust, so I'm gonna actually smooth this out a little bit. So I'll end up taking that steering shaft out tomorrow and just using a flap wheel to kind of like just smooth it out so that it has a little more clearance. Everything else is together. The only other thing is also put the antifreeze back in, which I haven't done yet. But I think what we're gonna do to finish this off is fire it up and see what happens, and let's hope that the ticking is gone. So I'll hook the battery up and then we'll give it a test fire. All right. Oh, crap. Okay, let's give her a try and see what happens. And the battery's dead. Oh, that's awesome. Guess I should have charged that. Take 2, I put a booster pack on. Hopefully that's the main up. I don't know, whenever it sits for a while, the battery likes to die. I don't get it. Well, I don't know, guys. There's lots of smoke. I guess I leaked a bunch of antifreeze and stuff onto the charge tube, but it still kind of sounds like it's still making some kind of noise, so I don't know. I really don't know. The only other thing I can think to change out of this thing, on this thing, would be the this front plate right here. That maybe, because I reused the old one, I have lots of oil pressure, so I can't really see it being that, but then again, I could be wrong, right? Possibly it still isn't giving the proper oil to the lifters. Could be that it just needs to run for a bit to pump them up more. I don't know. I mean, when I rev it up, it seems like the noise goes away totally, but when it's just idling, it seems like it's still ticking, so I don't know. I don't know, guys, but that's going to be it for this video. It is back together. It is running. In the next video, we'll finish it up, and I got another new part to put in it, which we'll do, and then maybe do some more investigating, and I don't know, we might be pulling the front accessories and water pump off of this thing to change that cam plate. We'll see what happens. But like always, like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends. We'll check you later.
Fuck!